Hi there, Lindsay here, the Frugal Crafter, and I'm going to share with you my favorite Christmas decoration I made this year. These are kissing balls, and I had seen some at the grocery store, but they were like $35 each, and I wanted 3 for my porch here so that I could have one hanging in between each post that I simply wrapped with some 2-inch ribbon. And I'm going to show you today how to make these. It's very easy and inexpensive. You can find the supplies you need pretty much around your yard if you live in a cool climate like I do, or you can get Christmas tree trimmings from any home improvement store that sells Christmas trees. They usually have a bin for free that you can just take. And then I just use some little decorations. I use some small decorations that I actually happen to have in my Christmas stash. I use some ribbon from the craft store, and it's very inexpensive and fun to make, and I really think they look nice. The boughs that I have on my banister there are fake. I think when you mix some real and some fake together, it does look nice, and then of course I can reuse those boughs again. I love how I have actual real icicles because of the rain and then freezing that we had last night. I think it's really pretty. So without further ado, we're going to go downstairs to the craft room. I'm going to show you the basics of making these, and then we'll come back here and take a look at these again, and I'll show you kind of how I finished them up. So without further ado, let's make some kissing balls. Okay, I'm just going to forewarn you that your area that you're working is going to be a mess before you're done, so just go with it. I'm going to show you some of the supplies we're going to need for this project. I recommend you have a ruler or a yardstick because you will want to measure twine and ribbon just to make sure, if you're making more than one especially, that you end up with them fairly symmetrical, so when you go to hang them you don't have things hanging at different lengths. That you can use some artificial berries, decorations. I actually found most of these in the attic when I was going through our Christmas decorations and decluttering, so I grabbed some of these to use. And I did buy some, they had clusters of these at the Dollar Tree for $1, and I think you get like 6 little bunches, 5 or 6 little bunches per dollar you spend. Also a dollar store ball of twine. For natural objects, I clipped some pine branches, some berries that were in my backyard. I also got some cedar. We had to have a couple of trees taken down in the backyard, so I was able to grab some. I grabbed some clippings from those because we had a big unsafe tree that had to come down because it had died, and to let it fall in the woods and mulch it, we had to take down a small little spruce tree, so I figured give that new life. And you're also going to need some floral foam, which I also got at the Dollar Tree, and I'll show you that in a second. The first step I want to show you though is what I did here to prepare the hanging mechanism for my floral foam, because I first started to do it with floral wire, which you will also need floral wire and trimmers. Sorry, I just feel so out of sorts today. I was going to put this on a tripod, but I couldn't find a little thingy-mabob that hooks the hot foot that hooks my camera to it, but oh well. So what I did was I took a length of twine, I would say about 6, now probably about 4 feet, and I doubled it over, and then I tied a knot and sandwiched this between 2 popsicle sticks. Okay, so I have this long piece of twine. It's actually longer than I need, so I'm going to be tying a knot and cutting it when I hang it. But I tied a knot, I put some glue on popsicle stick, laid both strands of twine over the glue, then put another strip of glue, and then put a top popsicle stick on and let that dry. And then what you want to do is knot the strings on the end. This is going to be what goes in the middle of your floral foam, because if you try to wrap it with floral wire, you're going to slice and dice your floral foam in like a bazillion little pieces. Don't ask me how I know. You're also going to need a tiny little shard of dowel, just a little piece of dowel, or a little barbecue skewer, or just a little branch, something to hold it in, and I'll show you that process in just a second as soon as I find my little scrap of dowel that I've saved. Okay, I found my little scrap of dowel here. Honestly, I just took a dowel and broke it into a couple pieces for the 3 of these kissing balls that I was making. And you want to soak your flower foam. Just fill up a bucket with, room temperature water and drop your flower foam in it. These come in a 2-pack at the dollar store, or you can get like a 4-inch round ball for this. It doesn't matter. I just figured $1. You're not going to find the Oasis cheaper than that. This is called Oasis by brand name, but it's a humid foam. I think it's also called a humid foam. It's the kind that is really soft when you touch it and indents really easily, and it accepts water. So you want to soak that for probably half an hour or so to make sure it's fully saturated. Then you're going to poke your popsicle stick and twine sandwich down through. Look at that. See, it's really going to make a mess, okay? So I recommend you do this outside, or if you have a basement workroom like I do, it's someplace that can get wet and dirty there. Okay, so now I'm going to get those loose little pieces of twine out. Try not to damage the foam too much. Okay, now you want to start tying a knot. Otherwise this is going to slide off. You got to have something that's going to keep this from sliding off. And then you're going to put your dowel through, and this could also be a little branch. If you had a little strong, sturdy branch left over from some of your trimmings, you could do that. And then I'm going to just snip off the excess. There. Okay. So see how that's going to hang? It's going to be nice and sturdy. Otherwise, you know, you don't want this thing to fall apart. So what I found to be very useful is actually hanging this from a nail in the ceiling of my cellar to decorate. But that's not very practical for my filming, so I'm going to show you how I put it together here. Something you might want to do ahead of time is attach a piece of wire to a bunch of pine cones. That's another thing that you can use. You don't have to, but I had a bunch of these from a pine tree that I have. They were just on the ground, so that one actually doesn't look so hot. So I picked a bunch like last weekend, and I just left them on the porch in a bucket and let them open up. They'll dry out and open up. You can force that in your oven, but I just figured I'd leave them outside. That way, if there were any buggies in the pine cones, they could go on their merry way and not be cooked to death in an oven, because that just seems awfully cruel. And these are going back outside, so if there are bugs in there, I don't care. They can, you know, do their bug thing. Not going to bother me. So wire as many of those as you think you want. I think like 6 looks good on a kissing ball this size. These are 4 by 2, I would say, inches round. So it doesn't, even though this is a cylinder, it's still going to look round when we're all done. So you don't have to go and buy the expensive round ones at the craft store if your dollar store has these. So then what you're going to do, I would recommend preparing all your little greenery bits beforehand, and you're just going to go and you're going to poke them into the foam. And the first one I did, I actually put the berries in last, and that was a mistake. It was really hard to work those in. So, and I did like a row of cedar, then a row of spruce, and a row of pine. And I didn't think that looked as well as just putting them in randomly. So don't plan. Random looks way better with this particular project. And you just keep filling up. And like I said, if you have this hanging on something, it will work a lot better. Also, I recommend cutting these like with your like pruning shears as like right before you put them in. Like I've just pre-cut all these pieces that I'm showing you here. Cut them first, because you're putting them in Oasis, and that's wet. That's gonna keep them watered and looking fresh and nice, as long as you have a nice fresh cut on the bottom. So you just basically just keep sticking stuff in the in your floral foam until you have it all filled up. Then after that you can poke in, you can poke these in after the fact. They're not as finicky as these little berries, and I'm sure if you went to like a proper, florist, they would sell really fancy ones that look fantastic, but I was just using stuff out of my garden. So these can go on later. You can hang little ornaments on and then twist the little hangers on afterwards to decorate. And then to attach the pine cones, I just want to mention this because I thought I could just fold up this wire and stick it in. You want to go around like a branch and wire that on. I can do it on this one, show you. Kind of like this, just kind of twist that wire around a few times, because I find that I couldn't poke the floral wire in very well. So that's all there is to it. And then when you're ready to hang it up, you'll wire a bow to the top, and I will link a video to how to make a velvet bow on the top, and then on the bottom I'll show you how you do the wire there, how you do the ribbon on the bottom, because it is a little bit different. You're just going to take, I would say, about 3 to 4 feet of your velvet ribbon, and velvet ribbon is good because it's waterproof, water resistant, so even if I get in that puddle there, I'm not going to care, although I will just throw a towel down there. Fancy. My very clean towel. So what I like to do is fold it so that I've got the velvet side out and the plastic side is kind of in. And then you want to grab yourself a piece of floral wire, and I go real long on this because I'm going to double it up to make it a little bit more sturdy. And I'm going to fold the wire in half. Just match up the end. I know it's really, you probably can't even see that wire. It's so skinny. And I think maybe sometimes, I guess if you had thicker wire and you wired your pine cones with thicker wire, you could probably jam that right in without wiring it to a bow. You could probably just jam it in the foam. But I think wiring it to the bow is going to keep it a little more secure, especially if you're somewhere where it gets windy. And you just twist that on there. And then to make this so you can stick this into the bottom of your, I'm just going to move that, I think it'll be easier for you to see. To make this so you can stick this into the bottom of the kissing ball after it's all done, you want to twist that together, then fold it in half and twist it together again, and that's going to give you a much stiffer wire to stick to the kissing ball. And then something else that's kind of pretty, and you know, use what you have. Like, I just went through and decluttered all of my Christmas decorations, and I just was finding like little random things here and there. This was, I found a couple of these little snowflakes, and I thought that would be really pretty added to the kissing ball, so I can actually wire that right in there. I should have just added it when I folded the ribbon, but I didn't realize it had a hanger on it already, so I'm just going to grab another piece of wire. So it's pretty much, you know, just keep adding until it looks how you want it to look, and then hang it up. And if you don't know how to tie a velvet bow, then just check out that video. I went into it pretty in depth, mainly because I had just learned how, and I didn't want to forget it, and every year I have to rewatch the video myself to remember how to tie one of those those guys. And then I'm just gonna wrap that onto my wire here. There's no rules, just, you know, wet the floral foam and make sure you have that secured with a popsicle stick twine combo so it doesn't pull out on you, and that's going to keep your arrangement fresh. And you can use it indoors. You know, like I said, I did not, like, you know, I got all this stuff from my backyard, so who knows, there could be little, you know, varmints in the pine cones and whatnot, but it's going outside to live, so I don't care. So, you know, you could bake your pine cones if you're worried about that. But this, when you're all done, you've got this all full, you're going to push that into the bottom, just like that. Okay, but push it all the way through. I just don't want to make an extra hole right now, and that's how you do that. And you just make your bow and wire it onto the top, and you'll hang it outside from this. So I kind of move this around as I go so I don't lose it or get it tangled up in the boughs. That's all there is to it. I'll show you another look at the front porch where all three are hanging up. I really enjoyed this. They were fun to make. The first one was a little sketchy, I have to admit, but they got better as I went along, and I saved myself about 90 bucks, really. They were $35 at the grocery store to buy. The floral foam, the 2-pack, it took 1 pack of floral foam, that was $1. I had the wire and all the decorations already. I spent $2 on berries. I spent $2 on a huge spool of wire that I had ribbon that I had used on my porch. I actually spent $5. So I spent like probably under $10 to do all my porch decorations this year, and just use stuff I had around the house too. So definitely a savings, and it's fun to do it yourself, and it's fun to say you made it yourself. I hope you found this useful. These were a lot of fun to make, and they're actually much easier than making a wreath, and you really save quite a bit of money doing it yourself, and your house will smell amazing as you're creating these. I mean, it smelled like Christmas. And then I went and vacuumed afterwards, and anytime I've used my vacuum cleaner with that same bag in it, the whole house smells like Christmas with the balsam scents. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you found this helpful. If you have any questions, go ahead and leave them in the comments below, and I will get back to you. Have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Until next time, happy crafting.